Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
You are now listening to the Behind the Mic radio show from the Cheap Seat Sports Bar and Grill in Champaign, Illinois. Presented by Ford of Tuscola. Here's your host, Keith Gibson.
Welcome, everybody, to the Cheap Seat Sports Bar and Grill. Welcome to episode 2 of Behind the Mic. I am your host, Keith Gibson, and we're going to have a great show lined up for you today, including our special guest who will join us here in just a little bit, former Illinois State Redbird, former Chicago Bear. Cam Lee will join us to talk about his journey through the NFL and what he's up to today. We'll also have a special guest host this week, and that is none other than Ian Wilson, number 9, the Niner, will join us here to talk 5 freaky fast questions here on the first segment, and then he's going to try to stump the sports guy a little bit later on. So we're looking for a great show. We're going to get a quick word from our presenting sponsor, Ford of Tuscola. We do appreciate you guys, of course. So strap it in. We're going to have a great show here from the Cheap Seat Sports Bar and Grill. This is Behind the Mic. We'll be right back after these messages.
Ford of Tuscola has a large lot full of new and pre-owned vehicles. Check out their great financing, friendly staff, and professional service center. To help you get the most from your next vehicle, make the short drive to Tuscola and find a great deal on your next car or truck.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to Behind the Mic, episode number 2. Keith Gibson alongside here. My special guest host for this week, none other than Ian Wilson. Ian, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. We do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, fellow Cubs fan, and the only man I've ever seen take a fly ball off his forehead in the middle of the game.
You know what? I have an issue with that because, yes, that did happen.
See?
But people forget the first pitch of that game went yard over the right field fence by me.
Nobody remembers that. All they remember is getting hit in the head.
Well, I do, and I have it on the wall framed.
What, the home run or the ball that hit your head?
Both.
Both. There you go. Hey, well, we're glad to have you here, Ian. We're going to have a lot of fun today. Going to talk a lot of things, a lot of great topics, a little bit of sports, a little bit of high school sports, and we're going to talk the best pizza ever. How about that? I like to eat. You like to eat.
Yeah. Especially pizza.
Yes, we do. So we'll get started. We'll always do our freaky fast 5. So we'll do our 5, and then later on you're going to come back, and you're going to try to stump me, aren't you? You're going to try to stump the sports guy.
Gotcha.
Not going to happen. What was the over-under again?
4.5.
4.5. 4.5. We're going to come back later on. Ian said he can give me 10 college basketball players. I have to name where they went to school at. He says the over-under is 4.5.
Well, in the practice round, it didn't end very well.
It did not, no. But in the real time, I'm a gamer. I'm a gamer. I'll be there. So, all right, we're going to start back with our Fast 5. 3 minutes, 5 topics. Are you ready to go for today's show?
I'm ready to rock and roll.
Okay. First topic we're going to start with. The University of Illinois is talking about getting a mascot, and they wanted Alma Otter. Ian Wilson, have you ever seen an otter in the state of Illinois?
Not unless it's in a zoo.
Okay, my point, why an otter? This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
Well, I believe on the research that I've done, it shows that they are making a comeback in Illinois, even though neither one of us seen one.
It's an otter. How ferocious is an otter?
It's probably a step. It's probably a step above a gopher,
and a mole.
Probably a little below a badger.
Right, but above a mole. Cool. Hey, but what's wrong with the block eye? What's wrong with being the Illini? I don't get why everybody in this town, if you aren't from Champaign and you're watching this, it's a big controversy because the chief is no longer here. I love the chief. They should have never got rid of the chief. I understand the reasons they did get rid of the chief. But no otter. For the love of everything good and holy, no otter. Give me something mean, vicious, something that says we're going to fight and win, not an otter. A cute.
Well, the scary part is the student body voted 48 to 52% a no vote. So when you're talking 4%,
okay, hold on.
That is scary.
Time out. We're talking about a student body who gets spoon-fed by their parents, who's a different generation than we ever were. And yeah, if you're watching this and you're a student, I'm talking to you because it's a whole different generation. We would never voted for Alma Otter. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
No. Well, would you have voted for Crush the Bear?
No, I wouldn't have voted for that either. Just stick with the Illini.
Like fight an Illini Eagle?
I
How
might have
about
been the Eagle. Hey, the Eagle would have been awesome. But I wouldn't have went for Alma Mater. All right, moving on. Next topic. Here we go. Ian Wilson, what is the greatest football game ever on any video console? So we're talking the best football video game ever. And my pick can't be beat. It's Tecmo Bowl. Are you serious? Tecmo Bowl is the greatest. Bo Jackson was unstoppable. Lawrence Taylor came around the corner.
It can be
And yours is?
Super Tecmo Bowl.
Okay. Super Tecmo. You've got a copy of Super Tecmo Bowl.
Copy. And I play this. Especially with the power pad. I cannot be beat.
That's pretty impressive. I don't know if I've seen a box like that in 20 years, 25 years. What is that for?
Nintendo.
You still have
original
it?
NES.
That's pretty awesome. I'm going to have to come down to your house now. Okay, so Super Tecmo Bowl, still, the Tecmo Bowl series is the greatest series. I don't care. Madden's great. It's been around forever. It's evolved so much. But you just can't beat Tecmo Bowl. It's so much fun. You had 8 plays. That's it.
You know what? That's why I'm a Giants fan. Lawrence Taylor. And we'll talk about that a little later.
We'll get back to that. Yes, we will. But, Lawrence Taylor was awesome on that game. He could come around the corner so quick. Bo Jackson was awesome on the original. It was so much fun and so simple. Simple. Now you got 6 different buttons you got to hit to do this and that. And I can't do it. I can't do Madden. It's part of the reason I don't do the NFL as much as I used to because I just can't do it.
Yeah.
Tecmo Bowl is greatest ever.
I agree. Tecmo Bowl is the greatest ever, and it has the fabulous Buffalo Bills on there, who lost 3 straight Super Bowls.
It does. And quarterback by?
Jim Kelly.
There we go. Thank you. What's your second? What would be your second choice? If it wasn't Tecmo Bowl, what would go number 2 for you?
I mean, you got to go with the Madden franchise. I mean, I was a huge Madden fan through all those years, and I don't even look at one game. I think it's just a combination of games, just like a combination of seasons. I
would almost agree with you a little bit. I don't know. I was pretty big on John Elway football.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. That was awesome. I did enjoy Blitz. That was a good series of games too. But no, you're probably right. Madden is probably.
I'm all about reality, so I don't live in that Blitz generation.
Oh, I hit like a blitz. But anyway, all right, moving on. Next topic. Here we go. Topic number 3 for this week, episode 2, right here on Behind the Mic. Ian Wilson, this is one that you and I think, will take near and dear to our hearts. In today's world, you see a lot of high school athletes playing one sport. When we were in school 20 years ago, you 21, we played multiple sports. Well, at least dressed for multiple sports, in my case. Is it harmful? Do you think it's really helping these kids to focus on one sport? I mean, you look at players like Aaron Judge. He was a 3-sport athlete. Andrew McCutcheon played 3 sports. LeBron James played multiple sports in high school. Why are these kids and parents focusing on one sport when you should let the kid play?
I think the parents believe that, in the long-term paycheck for that, even though the chances of that are slim to none. And I think, seeing this one-sport athlete, that's why you're seeing all these.
Hey, not to interrupt you, those chances about me laying about $1.40, not going to happen.
Well, it's like you thinking that you had the green light to steal bases.
I did all the time.
Yeah, no, you never did. Never did. But that's why we see all these injuries, arm injuries in pitchers today, because these kids are throwing thousands and thousands of pitches, tens of thousands of pitches, and it's ridiculous. Well, and, for these kids to not be able to feel the smell of a Friday night football game, I mean, one of the greatest things you'll ever do.
Hot dogs and pretzels smelled awesome when you came out of that locker room.
But you know what? Not even about the kid, but look what it does to the communities and the high schools. These smaller communities, your best athletes played all sports.
Yep. Now they play one sport, so you might not have any good teams at all. You're exactly right. That's a wonderful point. You're exactly right. These smaller schools, these kids did play. They played football for the 2A, 3A bigger schools. For the boys especially, you played football in the fall, you played basketball in the winter, and you played baseball in the spring.
Yep.
And then in the summertime, usually you were playing baseball or doing something in the weight room. You were constantly doing something, but your body wasn't taking the repetition of curveball after curveball or even fastball after fastball. Wasn't taking hit after hit after hit. You know, it's you have to let your body heal, and there's different muscles in each sport that need that. I'm totally against a kid playing one sport constantly. I'm totally against, and people are going to not like this statement, I'm totally against third, fourth, fifth, and sixth graders playing football. I am. I don't think they need to take the hits that early. I think they're still developing. I think if you're seventh and eighth grade, you're getting there. I mean, it's a freshman. You didn't have JFL, correct, or junior league football, and there I didn't either. Look how we turned out. My point is, you're saving your body also for that. You can play flag football. You can teach the fundamentals which need to be taught at that younger age without having to hit.
Yeah.
So that's my point. I think we need to look. People really need to open their eyes about one sport athlete and focusing on one sport at a young age and moving forward, and really let the kids have fun and enjoy their summers. Because I know some of my favorite times were Little League down at Brax Cheney Field in Florida, down at Mike Jennings Field in Pony League, Bealers Bilo.
Whoop whoop.
Member of Bealers Bilo. That was fun though. That's what we did.
Yeah.
In the summertime, and so that's what's important. I think some of these kids are missing out on that. So moving forward. Now, this is one you and I, Ian, we both have a passion for, and that's pizza.
Pizza. Pizza.
That's right. Can't go wrong with it. Best pizza you've ever had was from where? And I think I know your answer because I'm right there with you because I'm in Jonesing for one.
How about on three, we both answer, okay?
Gotcha. All right, ready?
One.
If I count, though, I count like this.
Are those halves or are those ones?
They're halves, so I got to go twice.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
DiMaggio's.
Yeah, DiMaggio's pizza. You can't go wrong with DiMaggio's in Florida.
Can't beat it.
I mean, of course, we grew up with it, but there's nothing wrong with DiMaggio's pizza. It's fantastic. I mean, it's hard. I've had people, our good friend, Mary Warren. Hi, Mary. Hope you're watching. Brought me a pizza not too long ago from back home. I'm like, I don't care if it's cold or not. It's good cold. It's good warm. It's just fantastic pizza.
Yeah.
Besides that, what's your number 2 favorite pizza? Are you a deep dish guy or are you
Yeah, I can be a deep dish guy. I like Lou Malnati's. I like that.
See, I like the thin. I don't like the deep dish. I like more toppings, more sauce. Give me that on top of a thin crust and let me fold it in half, shove that thing in my mouth. Everybody just watching this show. No, I tell you what, if you're watching this and you're not from Florida, Illinois, because that's where Ian and I both grew up, and you ever get a chance to have DiMaggio's pizza, stop by and get it. Great pizza. All right, moving on. Last topic of our 5 fast, freaky, fun times. Big trade this week in the NFL. I know it hit you right. Look, good spot. Odell Beckham Jr. traded to the Browns for a first round, a third round, and Jabril Peppers. That happened on Tuesday. Yeah. So traded Tuesday. What's your thoughts on that? You're a big Giants guy, Ian. I think it makes the Browns and Baker Mayfield a possible MVP candidate. You heard it here first. I'm telling you, Baker Mayfield may win the MVP this year. But what's your take as a Giants fan?
Well, I agree with you on the Browns. I don't know about the Baker Mayfield MVP, but I do agree that this totally helped the Browns out, and they're not done yet. But with the Giants, I actually have a dumpster fire going on out back right now just to salute the New York Giants. I was completely fine with trading Odell Beckham last year when they should have done it. Now we're going to pay, there's $16 million on our, salary cap to watch him score touchdowns for the Browns. And it's just
enough. Did they get enough in trade for him?
It really depends on what they're going to do with these picks. I think they're going to try to move up and get one of the quarterbacks, but
they should have done that last year.
Exactly. It should have been done last year. Sam Darnold should be a New York Giant. I love Saquon, but
hold on. You're telling me with that first round pick last year, you would have passed on Saquon Barkley to get a quarterback. As a Giants fan, is that what you're telling me?
This is a quarterback lead, Keith, and yes.
You're out of your mind.
No.
Saquon,
Quarterbacks win games.
Saquon Barkley, an athlete like him and a running back like him, only comes around so often.
How long is the average career of an NFL running back, Keith?
Listen to me.
How long?
A running back like him only comes around so often. I think that was a great pick by the Giants. I think they should have traded Odell Beckham last year. I'll agree with you on that. But Saquon had to be number one. There was plenty of good quarterbacks there last year to get in the second round or trade up to get another one. But they didn't. Now they're stuck with 38-year-old or 68-year-old, however old Eli is. He's been in the league for good knows how long. Him and Phillip Rivers, I swear, are going to.
Well, I would easily take Phillip Rivers today.
But now you have Eli and you have Saquon, and what else you got?
That's really it. I mean, like I said, it's going to be a huge dumpster fire this year. Really, you know what the bigger picture is, I think? I think this is a perfect example of the Rooney family and the Mara family. These are old-time, some of the greatest franchises in history, right? Steelers and Giants. Look at what are they doing with these diva players? I mean, I think they're just getting rid of them. Now, what's that going to do to the long-term NFL? I mean, I think it's really hurting the Steelers and the Giants when they do that.
Well, we talked on episode 1 of the NFL's ratings have continued to drop, and they're continuing to drop. I think it's the Super Bowls. It wasn't great to me. It wasn't. Tom Brady, great quarterback. I'll never say he's a bad quarterback. One of the greatest of all time. Is he the GOAT? That's for another day. But I get sick of seeing Tom Brady. I get sick of seeing what happened to the ground and pound. What happened to the pulling guard? Let's run a sweep, pick up some yards. What happened to defense? Now everybody wants to score touchdowns and dance. I get that.
That's why I'm taking a quarterback first round, not Saquon Barkley.
Oh, you're crazy. You're out of your mind. But I'll let you deal with that. But OBJ to the Browns changes that whole dynamic of the Browns' whole upcoming season. They still got the draft. They can make some more moves, some free agency coming up. I think it's huge for them. Can their defense stop people, though, is the big question for the Browns. And the Giants, well, hello to last place in the NFC East.
We we beat the Bears by 3, and we would have won 4 games if not. That could have totally changed our entire draft this year.
Right.
It's sickening.
Yeah. Well, you're stuck now with a 17th pick from the Browns, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And so you got 2 picks in the first round.
Yep. 6 and 17, I think.
Yep. So you're going to have to do something with that. But we'll see. The Giants, you're right, is a complete dumpster fire. It's a complete meltdown. And if I'm Eli, I might just say this is it.
I would agree.
And go with it and move on. So, all right, Ian, great opening segment, episode number 2 of Behind the Mic. We'll come back a little bit later here. We'll come back with you and see if you can stump me. Over under 4.5. Let us know what you think. Comment on the show. Visit our Facebook page, cheapseatsbar.com. You can check out and let us know comments there, what you think of the show. But we're going to come back with my special guest for this week, none other than former Illinois State Redbird, former Chicago Bear, those Bears. Cam Lee's going to join us. He's going to tell us what he's been doing, kind of about his story of how he got in the league and what he's up to now. So we'll be right back here on Behind the Mic, live from the Cheap Seats Sports Bar and Grill.
For 11 years, the Willow Branch Kennel has been offering outstanding pet boarding services to the people of Central Illinois. We treat each of our tenants like they're members of our own family, taking them out for walks and runs and making sure they're comfortable and loved. Let us look after your furry friends. Willow Branch Kennel. Call us today.
Welcome back to Behind the Mic. I am your host, Keith Gibson. I've brought along a special guest this week, former Illinois State Redbird, former Chicago Bear, and now a real estate entrepreneur. Welcome, everybody, Cam Lee to the show. Cam, thanks for joining us this week. We do appreciate it. And so life's taking you in a little bit of different ways here in the last 2 years, really. We'll start back. I mean, you came out of Illinois State, came out of Oakwood, actually, Oakwood High School. I lived in Oakwood for 5 years, loved it. up in Newtown. In fact, your brother actually mowed my yard, and I'll admit his brother mowed my yard for a couple of years. So, but came out of Oakwood, went to Illinois State. Why Illinois State?
So I didn't have a lot of attention coming out of high school. In fact, I believe there was only 2 schools that offered me really anything at the D1 level, and they were both FCS schools, Indiana State and Illinois State, and both offered me the opportunity to walk on. So Illinois State, I thought, had the better team, the better program, and their offensive line coach that was recruiting me at the time was from Tuscola. So, from my way, sort of understood the small school way of life, and so we sort of related on that. And so when the opportunity came for me to walk on there, it just seemed like the best fit for me.
Perfect. So out of Illinois State, then worked your tail off.
That's exactly right.
Walk on, worked your tail off, and then got ready for the draft, but went undrafted. I mean, you went combine too, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, went to the combine, but went undrafted. We got signed by the Saints in 17, correct, May?
Yep, May of 2017. Yep.
There you go. So what was that like going through that process? First time getting signed?
I'll say this much: it's an absolute whirlwind. It's such a cool experience because you're doing things that you've always seen on TV and thought to yourself, like, man, how much I would love to do that. And it's so cool. You're doing things that you really could only dream of, or at least I thought I would only dream of. So you're trying to take advantage of every second and really soak it in and just enjoy the experience. But at the same time, it's a job and it's your career, it's your future. So you got to take it really seriously. And it is, the most serious, the most stressful, the most, intense period of your life. I tell everyone about the NFL Combine. It was awesome, but it was the hardest 4 days of my life, no doubt. And then, going and getting signed with New Orleans and really all of it, even the pre-draft stuff prior to the Combine. It's such a cool experience, but man, people really don't know. You're not just sitting back thinking like, hey, I'm going to be in the NFL and everything's easy breezy from here. It's an absolute grind for, a year and then some.
You say that, Cam. Was it a more of a mental than a physical grind for you? Was it, having to stay focused, having to stay laser point in the entire time, getting ready for the draft, through the combine, through everything?
Yeah, I'd say it's kind of 50-50 mental and physical because, everyone knows the physical part, The physical part, if you don't know that NFL players have to be in great shape or work hard, then you don't understand football at all.
You're saying this isn't great shape?
I'm not saying that you're not there. I'm just saying we got some work to do, Keith.
A lot of work. A lot of age.
But obviously the physical part everyone knows about, but the mental part too, because the thing that people probably don't know is that you're not just interviewing physically on the field. You actually have to do verbal interviews. You have to go in and sit down, like at the Combine, you sit down with not just like one person, you will sit down with like the GM of a team. You were literally like not half an hour before this, you were running around on a field in your underwear on live television. And then you'll be in an interview room with the GM, the owner, the assistant GM, the offensive line coach of an NFL franchise. And they're questioning everything about your history from, like, why did you mess up on this play to why did you do this? Like, why did you get suspended that one time? And not me specifically, but you know what I mean? Like, they're digging up all the dirt they can. And it's crazy. Some of the things that I've heard about questions that have been asked and horror stories of interviews that have gone bad. So it's just such a straining process on the mental side that I don't think people always know about.
So you got signed with the Saints, went through there and through June.
Yep.
And then they released you. Yep. And then Bengals picked you up. So then you were in Cincinnati, and I through September 2nd that year, which is awesome. I believe you were in. I remember your family going down there to Paul Brown. Isn't it Paul Brown Stadium down in Cincinnati?
Yep.
And got to see you, which is awesome. But you weren't there very long either, only until September, and then you got signed with the Bears. I was a happy man when you got signed with the Bears. A lot of people were.
Well, it's funny because when I was making my initial choice after the draft, I had several teams that had offered me, an undrafted free agent position, one of which was the Bears. And basically I'd eliminated it down to the Bears and the Saints. I thought those were the 2 best offers. And I ultimately chose to go with the Saints just based off the roster, based off where I thought they were at. So at the time that seemed like the better decision. they ended up releasing me, and I bounced around for a little bit, and then I ended up with the Bears. But man, it was really cool to get to be there, especially to play for my home state team. And in the process of getting there, it was not a direct one by any means. And when I finally did get there, it was a funny story because the offensive line coach that sort of, I wouldn't say recruit because it's the NFL, but the one that he said, hey, if we don't draft you, we're going to want you to come here as a free agent. And he hosted me on a visit, all that stuff. He said some very not polite things to me that day on the phone that I opted to go with the Saints. And then I don't know what it was, 2 or 3 months later, I was a member of the Bears, and he was so nice to me. But the very first thing he said to everybody was like, he said the first day that he introduced me to the offensive line, he's like, I said some very bad things about Cameron on the phone, so I want to apologize publicly. And we got along very well from that point forward. But it's an intense business. I'll say that much.
Well, and that's one of my questions. It is a business, and coming from my side where I watch and see everything go on, to your side where you've been through the business side of everything, it's night and day, isn't it?
Oh yeah. You especially when you talk to people who just tune into the games on Sundays and maybe watch ESPN a couple times a week, and on one hand they do have an understanding of what's going on. At least they watch the game, and they keep a fantasy perspective of the game. But until you're really up in the middle of it, until it's literally your job, and every single week you're wondering like how, am I going to make it? Am I going to get cut? Am I going to be the next guy? It's a whole other thing. And when you really take into account the business side of it, and that there's ownership and GMs, and everyone's just trying to make the decision to win games and to save a buck, until you really have gone through that process of, hey man, we got to let you go, or we're looking for this, and you'll never fully understand it until it's, your career is on the line at all times. It's very stressful.
December 5th of 18, with the Bears, you got promoted to the active roster from the practice squad.
Yep.
What was your emotions going through that, knowing that you get to suit up on a Sunday in the regular season for your home state team?
Yeah.
And who's the first person you called, number one?
Well, it's really funny because this goes back to that whirlwind of emotions and the business side of it. When I got called, it was a Monday, and on Mondays basically you have the day off in the NFL because you play the day before, or is it Monday or Tuesday, whatever it was. I was kind of laying around at home, and I got a call in the afternoon from the Bears, which I didn't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing because it was my off day, right? So because Kyle Long had gotten hurt, and I knew that they were going to want someone to replace him. Now, being in the NFL as long as it had been for me, which has only been a couple months, but I had gotten an understanding of how this business works. So when they called me, my first thought was this is either really good or really bad. So they said, hey, we're going to need you to come back to the office. So I drove back to the building that day or that evening, and they actually called me in and said, hey, we're going to promote you to the active roster. So that was immediately I don't want to exaggerate, but I mean, like, that was the coolest thing that has ever happened. For me at that time, that was the thing that, I mean, every amount of hard work and effort and, passion and everything that I've done since I was 5 years old was to be a professional athlete, and to like really be validated in that moment. Words really can't describe what that felt like, especially when you realize like it is for your home state team, you're going to get to perform. So the first person I called was my fiance. She wasn't my fiance at the time. I actually proposed. Funny story. I don't know if you want to hear it, but
yeah, of course we do.
I had organized to propose to my girlfriend that weekend. I was going to propose to her in Chicago because I was on the practice squad. Practice squad guys don't travel with the team. The team was going to Cincinnati. So I had this whole thing organized. I was going to have a photographer and friends were going to come up. And so while the team was away, I was going to propose that night or that Saturday or whatever before the game because I had no obligation or responsibilities.
Right.
Well, then I get activated. So now I have to travel. I have to go. There's no like, oh, you can't postpone that. And so now I'm like, well, what am I going to do? So long story short, I ended up calling everyone and I was like, move it up a night. We're going to do this. I'm not going to delay the biggest day of my life, for the other biggest day of my life. I'm going to do it all. It's just going to be a huge weekend. So I got activated on Monday or Tuesday or whatever it was, practiced all week, called all the people for the engagement. I was like, move it up. We're going to do it Friday night. And the football team will leave. I'll leave Saturday the next day. So anyway, I called everyone and we had this whole thing arranged, and I went and I proposed, and then the next day I got on the flight and went to Cincinnati, and that was just a heck of a.
That's a whirlwind.
Yeah, a lot happened in a little bit of time.
Well, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
My wife and I now been married almost 4 years. It's pretty awesome.
Awesome.
Pretty awesome.
So you could say it's a good thing. It's a good feeling.
It is, without a doubt. But so you go active.
Yep.
What's it like being on the sidelines? Let's just.
I mean, it's the craziest thing in the world, especially because I was on the sideline all year on practice squad.
Right.
But when you put on the jersey, when you get to put on the jersey, and you just realize how much closer to the action you are. And even though like I was active and I was dressed, they weren't looking at. I wasn't expected to be in the games. You know what I mean? But then like you could just feel yourself like, hey, if something happens, I got to be ready, and it just like ups your awareness. You know what I mean? It just takes everything, your adrenaline to a whole new level. And it was that Christmas Eve game against the Browns where we had a couple guys go down, and like coach kept coming over to me. He was like, yeah, if something happens, you got to be ready to go. And I mean, I was so alert, so aware. It was like everything was at an slow-mo at an all-time high. Just the feeling, I don't even know the words to describe it.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So after the Bears waived you in May, after all that,
yeah,
I'm sure you loved your time, and I know you probably being there a little longer than any other stop.
Mm-hmm.
You make some good friends too, right?
Oh yeah, I've got some of my best friends are still on that team.
And so, does it make it hard for you to see those guys? I know I saw one of your tweets the other day about Sam Acho.
Mm-hmm.
I love Acho.
Yeah, Acho's great.
And thought he was the heart and soul of that defense, and the emotion. And I hated seeing that. Is that hard for you to see that too? Because you've kind of been through that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, especially it would be easier to just go through the game and to go through your career and be a robot about it and not get attached and not care about the people on a human level. But that's not the kind of guy I am. And when I was there in my time, I made some really good friends and I connected with people. And just the same way that I'm sure that guys were bummed when I left, I feel that same way when good guys like Sam Acho get let go for money reasons or whatever it is. I get it, and we all have to get it, but no, it's never easy. So like I said, some of my best friends have been in situations just like me where it's team to team to team, month to month, and you bounce around and you move, and it's just really hard to establish a life the way that you want to live. You know what I mean? No one's complaining. You get to be an NFL athlete. No one's saying, hey, feel bad for me, but people don't understand, like for some of
you don't have that time to settle down. Am I right?
Yeah, exactly right. And so like if you're someone who thrives on stability and wants to have that home and that family and that community and you can't ever get established, it's hard. And so you do, of course, feel for those people who have to go through that.
Well, you come from a great family. Your mom and dad and brothers and sisters, great family from Oakwood.
Yeah, very fortunate.
A pretty awesome guy. I enjoyed always seeing him when I lived over there.
Yeah.
So you left the Bears, signed with the Ravens. Weren't there very long either.
Right.
3-4 months, right?
I was with so I was unemployed for a while, just kind of waiting for my next call. Because when you get released in the middle of the summer, if it's after the free agency period and if it's after the draft, teams have brought in who they want to bring in. So if you get released after that day, you're just sitting around waiting for someone to get hurt or someone to not show up to camp, which is exactly what happened. So when I was actually at the place. I was living up in the north suburbs, north of Chicago, because I'd been released by them, but hadn't moved on yet. Didn't know where I was going to go or what I was going to do. I actually had a plan to come home that weekend, and I got a call from my agent who's like, the Ravens are going to call you in a second. So the Ravens GM calls me and he says, hey, one of our offensive linemen didn't show up to camp. Are you in shape? And I said, yeah, it's been 2 months, but I can do this. So within, I want to say it was like 20 hours, I was in Baltimore performing the strength and conditioning test that you have to pass to make it in an NFL camp. I was not prepared, but I did my best. And basically there was me and 3 other guys in an all-out battle. Last man standing got to be on the team, and I happened to be the one that made it. And then basically, I mean, they didn't outright say it, but the vibe from the moment I got there was, hey, we just need someone to fill out the third line. So I knew what my role was. I don't hold any bad feelings towards that organization or towards that team. They said we need someone to do this job, and so I was happy to be there for 6 weeks and to help get the team through training camp. I had a great time. I mean, I love playing football, and I got to meet new people and live in a new city and make great friends and, you know, have awesome relationships and awesome stories. So it was a short time, but it was a fun time.
Well, that's awesome. But after that, you got signed with the Arizona Hotshots.
That's right. Yep.
Very short time, though, correct? Very short time.
Well, I was basically assigned to the Hotshots, some sort of system. I don't fully understand. The AAF sort of distributed up all the NFL teams and all the players that were no longer with teams. And it was, if you were on this team, the AAF team had the rights to players that used to play for them and something like that. So basically, I got assigned to Arizona, showed up for camp, really enjoyed it. I loved Coach Rick Neuheisel. I loved the offensive line coach, Chris Selfo. I loved the guys and their scheme and the way they were doing it. It was just fun. It was upbeat. It wasn't too uptight. It was just a loose, fun atmosphere. And I believe I was there 2 weeks into camp. Things were going all right. Just they reached a point where they had injuries at certain positions and had an abundance of offensive linemen. Someone had to go. It had to be me. So, or happened to be me. So I moved on from there. But, you know, like I don't know if you get the gist of this story, but with each stop, you make a couple of friends and you move on. So you can't take anything personally.
Well, you know what? But you were there. And no one can ever take that away from you, which is, yeah. I mean, and for the people who are watching and don't know the size of Oakwood Camp, what is there? There's no stoplights, right?
No stoplights. There's, I believe, like 3 4-way stops.
I was going to say 2 or 3. There's as many stop signs as there are 4-way stops as there are truck stops.
That's true.
And convenience stores there in Oakwood. Uh-huh. I love the Pilot. My wife loves the Cinnabons, and we still go there every once in a while. But so after that, though, you kind of transitioned out of football.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about what you're doing now and what the transition was like from out of football to what you're doing now, and then tell everybody what you're doing now too.
Sure. So I'm currently I'm starting my career as a real estate agent. I've joined an awesome company. I'm working with Caldwell Banker and Team Finke out of Champaign. I'm decided to make that transition because I reached the point with football where I felt that I wasn't getting as much out of it as I was putting into it. You know, I was away from my fiance, I was away from my family, I was away from the town and the people that made me who I was and what I am. And that wasn't fun for me. And, you know, like when I was with the Bears or when I was with the Ravens or the Bengals or the Saints or in the AAF or whatever point, I felt like I was getting something out of it,
right.
Enough to justify being away. I just reached a point where that the ratio was off. It didn't feel right. And, you know, I'm not one of these people who football was the one thing I had going for me. And that's not to brag or anything, but I've always had a long-term plan. Sports has always been something that I've wanted to do because I love to compete and I want to do things that other people can't accomplish. But ultimately, at the end of the day, they don't define me. It's just something that I've done. I've always gravitated towards people. I've always gravitated towards being a businessman. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur and do things on my own time and my own schedule and sort of I just want to I want to have some control and I want to have some agency in my life and my future. So when I saw the opportunity to get out of football, I didn't do it because I was broken. I didn't do it because it wasn't a quitting thing. It was the formula didn't add up anymore. The equation didn't add up. And I wanted to do something for myself. So I had
good for you.
Thank you.
Good for you.
That was a thing that was really hard for me to do because I have so much pride. You know what I mean? To quit was very hard, but it felt right. Whether it seems right to a lot of people. So anyway, real estate is something I've always gravitated toward because I love helping people and I want to be involved and invested. And so I want to work hands-on and help people. Like, that's really it. It's that simple for me. And so I wanted to come back to the Champaign area, Oakwood area, Danville. That's where I'm from. That's where my heart is. That's where my family is. And so I came back here and I immediately was like, what can I do to, to take off and do the next thing and to do the next thing in my life, the next phase of my life. So I immediately obtained my real estate license. I got it as soon as I could. And then I came home and I interviewed with some of the top real estate companies in the area and met with a lot of great people. Like, seriously, I met so many good people that have making, tough decisions. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I opted to work with a team that I think works best with me and our personalities gel. And it's a bunch of former athletes who can, compete and push each other and to thrive and to be our best. And so I'm just excited to help people. That's what I want to do. So,
well, I think that's awesome. I think that you were able to make that transition. And let me tell you this, from a guy who, I moved up here 10 years ago from Southern Illinois, from a small town. There's nothing like family. I mean, my family still comes up a couple times a month to see us, and of course it helps when you have a 2.5-year-old and everything. But I completely understand you. I think it's awesome that you're back. I think it's awesome that you're putting your heart and soul into it, and being the team that does have some competitiveness will be great for everybody. So, Cam, going back, is there any stories or anything that you could just took away from the NFL that you'd be like, if I wasn't here, I'd never experience this? Or, not necessarily on the field, not necessarily, at House Hall or anywhere like that. Maybe even out in the town of Chicago or wherever you were at. Is there something you're just had to stop and be like, holy crap?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of moments like that because, like you said, you grow up watching sports and you grow up knowing these names and hearing these names. And I remember thinking like, oh, Kyle Long is this amazing offensive lineman. If I used to follow him on Twitter, and I used to look up to him, and so like getting to be his teammate was an amazing thing. And then you hear all of this stuff about like Drew Brees, and I got to be his teammate, and I got to shake hands with Adrian Peterson when he was my teammate, and so like stuff like that is amazing. The moment for me that I wouldn't say I brag about, but the thing that's just like
you can brag. It's okay, Cam.
I'll never be able to take it. You'll never be able to take it away from me. But that moment for me was making my debut. The Christmas Eve game. My family was in the stands, sitting right down near the field. It was the middle of a snowstorm. I mean, just an absolute blizzard at Soldier Field. I'm out there with no sleeves on, trying to prove to America how tough I am. I'm not that tough, but I'm trying. I'm trying to look that tough, and the whole time as they're talking about, this guy's gonna get hurt, and you might have to go in, and I'm on the sideline, and my heart is just like beating out of my chest, and it's like everything's moving so fast, and I really can't explain how crazy and surreal it felt on the sideline. But then you get out on the field, and everything's slowed down. And you just realize, like, oh, I'm just playing a game. Like, I've done this 1,000 times. But anyway, in that moment, I got out on the field in my very first pass play. I'm set up to pass block Myles Garrett, the #1 draft pick from my class, who, I mean, by all accounts is as athletically gifted as probably anyone on earth. I mean, as big as me and as fast as wide receivers. I mean, what do you do? And so, I mean, I'm sitting there in this pass protection and just before the play, and honestly, I'm just thinking to myself, like, how the heck did we get here? Like, what is this? And I'm looking up and I'm like, is that really him? I mean, am I really doing this? And, the ball snapped and I stepped back and threw my hands and punched him, and that was it, blocked him totally fine. It wasn't a problem. And then from there on out, everything rolled and smooth. It was fine. But at one time, there was one run play that I ran out and got leverage on him, and I blocked him to the sideline. And I don't know if it's just because his team hadn't won a game all year, and it was snowing, and it was Christmas Eve, and we were going to win the game. But as we're running to the sideline, I'm a try-hard guy. That's all I've got. I'm not super talented. I just work hard, and I try hard, and I have fun. That's my entire attitude. And so I'm blocking him to the sideline, and I'm trying so hard. And like an unnecessary amount of effort, and I'm blocking to the sideline, and the play is probably over at this point, and he's in Miles Garrett, and everyone traffic in my classes is going, chill, bro, chill, let go, and I'm like, no, man, because you're the prom queen for me, Miles Garrett. You're the prom queen.
You're dancing. You're
This is
dancing.
as good as it gets.
That's awesome.
Ran him to the sideline, and
hey, we're so proud of you. You have a huge following. I know I was excited when I saw you sign with the Saints. I followed you ever since you were at Illinois State, pre-draft and everything. And I think it's pretty awesome the kid from Oakwood, Illinois, has got to do everything you've done. So from all of us who have followed you, we say thank you, and because you've given us a long ride. But you'd mentioned Kyle Long, and I follow Kyle on Twitter too. And he may have had the tweet one of the best tweets I've seen in a while. Someone tweeted that he was the most overpaid Chicago Bear, and he said, "Ask my agent or thank my agent."
Yeah,
that's awesome. I was just like, bingo.
That's Kyle. He's
got. I can hang out with, I think.
Oh, he's hilarious. He's one of my favorite teammates I've ever had. He says whatever is on his mind, almost to a fault, but he says what he's thinking, and he's not afraid of being himself. I love Kyle.
Well, good. Well, Cam, we thank you for joining us. We hope maybe we can get you on, and if you have anybody else you want to bring on, let them know about the show. We do appreciate it. We're going to come back here in just a few minutes, and Ian Wilson, my guest host this week, is going to test my college basketball knowledge. He says I can't get over 4.5 right. So we'll see. We'll come back. Once again, Cam, thank you. We wish you the best of luck in real estate, and we'll talk to you soon. We'll be right back here on Behind the Mic.
Check out the all-new Ford of Tuscola. It's a small-town feel with great big deals. Pre-owned vehicles starting at $24.95. Online at FordofTuscola.com or call 217-253-3353.
Welcome back, everybody, to the final segment of Behind the Mic show right here from the Cheap Seat Sports Bar and Grill. Of course, I have my special guest host with me back this week, Ian Wilson, and Ian is going to try to stump the sports guy. That's me. He's going to try to stump me this week with college basketball players, and I've got a name where they went to school. Now, this could be fun. You said the over-under's 4.5. I've got some people who have said under. I've got some who said I'm a pretty good guy. I'm going to take the over. I'm taking the over on myself. I'm confident in this. I think I can do this. So, all right. We will start. I'll let you name your first one. I have no clue. Just disclaimer here. I have no clue who these people are. Not a clue. We haven't talked about this. He said he's got a list of 10. We'll shoot, and let's start in. Give me the first one. Here we go.
All right. So March Madness is coming. So
it is. Big Ten tournaments this weekend.
That's right.
Selection Sunday is today, St. Patrick's Day.
Number 1, Jason Kidd.
Jason Kidd went to – I'm not very good.
4.5. That's
Jason Kidd went to Arizona.
No.
Oh.
He went to Cal.
I was on the West Coast. That's close enough.
You were on the right coast, I guess.
Yeah.
Or the left coast.
Oh, that's right. He did go Cal, wore number 5, if I remember correctly.
That's right. But you have to get it right first.
Oh, okay.
Instead of after.
All right. Let's move on. Number 2.
Number 2, local guy.
Okay.
Michael Finley.
Michael Finley went to Wisconsin.
Correct.
1 for 2. That's 1.
Number 3, Big Country, Bryant Reed.
That's Oklahoma State.
Correct.
Keep bringing it. That's 2 in a row. It's 3 in a row. It's called a winning streak.
Number 4, LaFonso Ellis.
LaFonso Ellis went to Providence?
Notre Dame.
Oh. That was a tough one. LaFonso. Where are you pulling these out of? For the love of everything good and holy. All right, number 5.
It gets harder.
All these 3.
Number 5, A.C. Earl.
Who?
Another local guy.
A.C. Earl.
from Moline.
A.C. Earl. I'm going to go with A.C. Earl would have went to I'm going to just throw this out. A.C. Earl went to Nevada. No, I don't know. No. Iowa. A.C. Earl, what year did he play? 1954?
It was the early 90s, mid-90s.
I don't remember A.C. Earl. All right.
He played for the Celtics, NBA.
That's 5. So I was, this may come down to the nitty-gritty here.
It's going to get there.
All right, what's next? Number 6.
This guy played with Shaq, another local guy.
Okay, LSU.
Jamie Brandon.
Who?
Jamie Brandon.
These guys played? If he played with Shaq,
I just gave
he had to go to LSU.
There you go. I thought I would give you one.
That's 3. 3, I got to have 2 out of the next 4, Ian. 2 out of the
right.
7, 8, 9. Yeah, I got to have 2 or 4 to get over. Come on. All right, next one. No more hints, though. I like this.
Baby Jordan. Harold Miner.
Harold Miner went to Miami.
No. USC. He played for the Heat.
Harold Miner. Well, you're pulling these out. I mean, you couldn't give me guys like Bryce Drew?
Well, these guys were actually drafted.
All right, next. I got to get 2 out of 3 here, Ian.
Anthony Peeler.
That's SLU, St. Louis University.
No! God, please, no!
No.
Or do you go to Memphis?
Mizzou.
Oh, I was in the right state. That was the right state. Oh, I thought Peeler went to SLU. Who went to SLU?
A lot of smarter people than me.
Yeah, all right. So I got these next 2 right to get over, correct? No.
Yep.
I'm at 3. I got to get the next 2 right. It always comes down to this. You know what? I always end up this close. Always. All right, what's number 9?
The Big O, Oliver Miller.
Oliver. Now, see, I remember when he played for the Phoenix Suns.
That's correct.
Oliver Miller. East Coast School. Let's go Seton Hall. I have no clue.
No. Arkansas.
Loser.
I mean, you could give me guys that I've heard of at least.
These are all guys drafted and all guys that played in the NBA.
This is ridiculous. All right, what's 10? It doesn't matter now, but I'm under. But at least I can be respected.
Andrew DeClercq.
Kansas?
No. Guess again.
I have no clue.
Won the national championship.
Andrew DeClercq.
With Billy Donovan.
That'd be Florida then.
Florida.
Yeah, not a clue. I mean, you could have Noah. Jason Williams was on that team.
Those guys are like 10 years after us. Where we're at right now. A.C.
Earl? Who remembers A.C. Earl?
Hey, if you wanted the 2000s, you could have told me. I thought you'd be better in the 90s.
I thought as a friend and bringing you on the show to come, you'd actually throw me a little bit of gimmies besides what you gave me.
I gave you one completely, trying to help you out.
All right. It's okay. You stumped me. Congratulations.
We need a board, I think, that says.
We'll have you back on the show because I want revenge.
Okay.
And I'll do it to you, and we'll see how that goes. Your expertise, I mean, I don't know if it's Giants or what, but we'll figure something out. We'll get you back on, and we'll see if I can stump you. That was tough. I mean, the only ones Brian, Big Country, that was easy. I remember him breaking the backboard down, with A.C. Earl.
Cool name.
I remember A.C. Green. Not A.C. Earl. Who watches Iowa basketball anyway? Mercy. Well, Ian, thank you for being a guest on the show this week. We do appreciate it. We do appreciate you coming on, your friendship, of course, as well. And We look forward to a big season of Cubs baseball, which we didn't even talk about today. So, ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome. I didn't talk about Cubs baseball once today. But we did have fun. Enjoyed having you. We'll have you back here later on sometime, and because I want my revenge on that. And we'll get going. So thanks, Ian. Thank you guys for watching episode 2. Coming up in a couple weeks, it will be the live version of Behind the Mic right here from the Cheap Seat Sports Bar and Grill. I'll have Sam Irwin here and a special guest. He likes his chicken. He likes to work midnights. He'll be here and be able to watch the show and live show. So anything can happen. You never know. And yes, I will be drinking beer during the show or a cocktail or something because it's WrestleMania Sunday. So next show will be April 7th right here from the Cheap Seats Bar and Grill. Ian, take care of yourself. Everybody out there, take care of yourself. God bless. Thank you for watching. This is Behind the Mic from the Cheap Seats Sports Bar and Grill.